This video is not financial advice. I'm not a financial planner. I'm an entertainer. The one, the only ape father in the bathroom. Wow! So, there's basically one of three things happening right now at AMC, okay? So let's analyze it, right? Okay, so the price is at that $18 level, kind of not moving, right? Kind of at a standstill, okay? So it's either no buying is happening. Do you believe that? I don't believe that. Apes are buying, baby, right? But that would be one option, that there's just no one's buying AMC. We're at a standstill, okay? The second option is, which is the most likely option, is that the hedge funds are taking all these buy orders that are probably coming in from payment for order flow platforms, and they're just keeping them in the dark pools. They're not processing the orders. They're not putting them in the lit market. They're just hanging around in the dark pools for however long these hedge funds want until they decide to process it, right? Okay. Then the third thing would be some really shady shit. You know what I mean? Who knows what's going on? Because if, like, let's say there really is buy orders going in through Fidelity or through, like, platforms that are non-payment for order flow platforms, then I don't know. The only option is some really shady shit's going on. You know, BlackRock, Vanguard, they're lending out shares to short AMC, even though it's at 100% utilization. There's something going on where they're able to just keep the shares dormant. So, okay, once again, right, just brings me back to the same point. I hate to be redundant. I know that all of you keep saying, hey, Father, all you do is say the same things over and over and over again. So you want to know what it is? We need like factual proof of what's going on. And not just, by the way, from the SEC, from Adam Aaron. We need stuff that we need to know what's going on through the apes. What are the apes doing? See, because can I say something, and I don't want to upset all of you? I don't want to upset all of you, but let me see. If the majority of apes are actually all still on Robinhood, Webull, TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, Charles Schwab, and if you're really all, like the majority, like according to Gary Gensler, 95% of all new buy orders are going through the dark pools, right? So let's assume that the majority of apes are buying, but they're buying on payment for order flow platforms. If that's the case, man, we got no one to blame but ourselves. Like, you can't blame Gary Gensler. Seriously. You can't blame Ken Griffin, because if you're stupid enough and dumb enough to be buying on platforms that Ken Griffin controls, that he's the puppet master of, then you gotta blame yourself. You gotta point the finger at yourself, say, I'm the idiot. Okay, so, but let's assume you're not an idiot. And let's assume you're buying on platforms, non-payment for order flow platforms. You're buying on Fidelity, using Active Trader Pro. You have to use Active Trader Pro. I don't know how many times I've said that already. You can't just buy on Fidelity Direct. You have to use the Active Trader Pro app so that you direct yourself. You're doing it. You're the boss. You direct your orders into the lit market. But now here's the thing. So let's assume that you are all doing this. See, I don't know what's happening. So now let's go to my next assumption. Everyone is buying on like for payment for order flow platforms, right? Okay. So then now, this is why it's so imperative for Adam Aaron to do a share recount. I'm going to tell you why it's so imperative. I understand what Tony De Niro is going to say. I understand that it's only going to be on the 513 million shares, Rich. It's not going to be on the synthetics. I understand that, Tony. But at least it gives us some sort of evidence, you understand, that we could use. You understand? So let's say Adam Aaron does a share recount, and it's only on the 513 million real shares. But it comes back, listen to me, that apes control the majority of those shares. We own the majority of the 513 million shares. Like, we own 80, 85%, 90%. We own the majority of the float. So then all of this shit that's going on doesn't make sense, right? Why are we at such a low price? Because now this is the type of thing, like, we might have to start getting into litigation here. We really should consider getting an attorney, all the apes. Because now you got to go back to Gary Gensler and say, Gary, let me ask you a question. How is it that we own, right, 85, 90% of the float, okay? And, we're buying, and we're holding, because you can see we're holding, because we own, right, 85, 90% of the float, yet the stock keeps going down or remains dormant. So now Gary Gensler now has to really provide us an answer. Why is that? Why? Explain it to us, okay? So the only explanation that he could give is probably that these orders have not been processed, right? They're in the dark pools, okay? But see, that's another thing we need to find out. Are we all buying on Fidelity using Active Trader Pro app, or at least on platforms that are non-payment for order flow platforms? So I just feel, here's the goal. You want to hear the goal? For the love, of this beautiful God in this world, for the love of God, please, God, help us. Give these apes the strength to realize they have to stop buying on payment for order flow platforms. I don't get, look, I understand, here's the oldest excuse in the book, Ape Father, I'm afraid to change platforms. We're close to the squeeze. I don't want to miss the squeeze. I understand. But like I said, 1,000,000,000,000,000 trillion times before, for new buy orders, I'm not telling you to transfer. You following me? For new buy orders, use Fidelity, Active Trader Pro app. And then you can keep your shares wherever you got them. All right. So this way you sleep calm at night like a little baby, like a little bunny. You sleep very peaceful. Okay. I understand that. No worries that you're going to miss the MOASS. But for new buy orders, you got to start using Fidelity. Active Trader Pro, not buying directly on Fidelity, using Active Trader Pro. So that's the first step of the puzzle that we need to solve. The second step, we need to get on Adam Aaron's ass. Everyone should be tweeting this guy. Everybody should be pressuring him. We want a share recount. And like I said, I understand it's only going to be on the 513 million shares. I get it. But you know what? If it comes back that we are still the majority owners of those real shares, like we own 80, 85%. Now, I think we should start thinking litigation, or at least start sending this to all of the politicians, everybody, your local senators, everybody. Someone has to answer this question. Because if we own the majority of AMC and we're buying, like if we find that we're buying on non-payment for order flow platforms, what the F is happening? But you see, the thing is, you know what they say? You got to first have the evidence. You got to first have the evidence. See, we can't just have all these assumptions. Because right now we're in the world, the land of confusion, like the Genesis song, Phil Collins. You understand? We don't know what's going on. Do we still own the majority of the float? Are majority of apes buying on payment for order flow platforms or on Fidelity, Active Trader Pro? So we have to first figure all that out. That's when we figure that out, we should shove all this evidence right up the SEC's, you know what? And then we demand answers. But we got to find all this stuff out, and everyone has to start pressuring Adam Aaron. You have to. Tell him, look, I appreciate the popcorn. Thank you for the popcorn, but we want a share recount, and we want it now. Like Queen, I want it now. Share count now, and I want it now. Let's do it, Adam Aaron. Get on his ass. Pressure him. Pressure him.